Mr. Milne, can you stand up, please? The jury unanimously convicted you of carrying out a course of abusive behaviour towards your wife, Kimberley Milne, from January 2022 until July 2023. They also convicted you of culpable homicide, finding that your abusive behaviour caused Kimberley Milne to fall to her death. Over those 18 months, you repeatedly abused Kimberley Milne. Some of that abuse involved physical violence, including seizing her by the neck, restricting her breathing, repeatedly punching her on the head and body, striking her so that she fell and lost consciousness, and repeatedly choking her. The abuse was not only physical. You belittled her by shouting and swearing at her, calling her names. You tried to cut her off from her family, checked her phone, restricted her movements and controlled her access to money and transport. Domestic abuse is rarely about one incident. It's not only about violent acts. It includes more subtle, but nonetheless as harmful, exertions of power and control in a relationship. And it builds over time. Each act, whether physical, psychological or financial, adds to the next, increasing pressure and fear, eroding confidence and independence. It's the cumulative effect of the varied types of abuse that makes domestic abuse so harmful and damaging. By 27 July 2023, you had split from Kimberley Milne, and you knew that day that she was in distress and having difficulties. Your response to her that day included driving erratically and at speed while she was in the car with you, shouting at her and throwing an item at her, acting aggressively and intimidating her. And all of that was further abuse carried out by you at a time when she was in a fragile state. Following your actions, Kimberley Milne reached a point of despair, such that she climbed over the barrier of a road bridge and fell to her death. By the jury's verdict, you must bear responsibility not only for all of your abusive acts, but also for causing her death. As we heard in evidence, Kimberley Milne faced several difficulties in her life, and some of those before she met you. And I do take into account the history of your relationship and the complexities of it. I've read the victim impact statements from Kimberley Milne's family. They describe her as one in a million, a much-loved daughter, sister and aunt, and they are devastated by her death. Nothing I can say or do today will bring her back and ease their grief. In deciding on the sentence, I take into account everything that has been said this morning on your behalf and all that is in the report. You're a 40-year-old man who has previous convictions, including for road traffic matters, for an assault and for breaching court orders. You have served a prison sentence before. The report before me notes your difficult upbringing, personal circumstances and your steady employment. You accept some of your abusive behaviour, but you continue to minimise your actions. You are assessed as posing a high risk of further offending and of causing serious harm. Given the seriousness of these offences, a custodial sentence is the only appropriate disposal, and I consider that the sentence that I am about to impose to be no more severe than is necessary for the purposes of protecting the public, punishing you, expressing concern and disapproval of your offending, as well as rehabilitating you. On the basis of the risk assessment in the report and the nature of your offending, I am satisfied that the normal period of licence would not be enough to protect the public from serious harm from you when you are released, and I therefore impose an extended sentence. That is in two parts. The first part is the period you will spend in prison. Although these are two charges, they describe a continual course of conduct. I therefore impose a single period for the two offences, and that is a period of 8 years imprisonment. 6 months of that is due to the fact that you were on bail at the time. Had the domestic abuse charge stood alone, the period of imprisonment would have been 4 years. Had the culpable homicide charge stood alone, the period of imprisonment would have been 7 years. Looking at the overall sentence, I consider a period of 8 years imprisonment to be appropriate. The second part of the sentence is the extension period, and that begins when you are released from prison. And during that time, you will be supervised in the community under conditions set by the Scottish ministers. If you breach those conditions, you may be returned to custody. If you commit another offence whilst on licence, the court may also deal with you for that. So I set the extension period at 3 years. So the sentence is therefore an extended sentence of 11 years, 8 years imprisonment and 3 years on licence. It is backdated to the 2nd of March 2026 when you were first remanded in custody.